Welcome to Beyond the Surface podcast. My name is host Mila, and I'll be your host for today's conversation. So we're going deep today on a really profound mathematical reality that is going to completely change how you approach personal growth, discipline, and honestly, your own self-worth. I want you to just forget everything you've been told about massive leaps, intense detoxes, and overnight transformations. Today, we are exploring the 1% paradigm shift. And I promise you, once you start seeing the world through this lens, you absolutely won't be able to unsee it. Okay, consider this number for a second, 3,700%. Let me just break down the math here because honestly, it's kind of ridiculous. If you improve by just 1% every single day, I'm talking a tiny, almost unnoticeable 1%. By the end of 1 year, you are 3,700%. Yes, 3,700%. We live in a world that is just absolutely obsessed with viral transformations, right? We see someone's success online and automatically assume they went from zero to hero in 6 months. But this math, it actively shatters that myth. True confidence and growth, they aren't built in a day. They're built a fraction of a percent at a time. Now here's the crucial part, and it's something we really need to just sit with for a moment. The compound effect, it works in both directions. It is a massive double-edged sword. If you get 1% worse every single day, skipping that workout, holding on to resentment in a relationship, eating junk food, or just letting your personal boundaries slip, after 1 year, you are 3,700% worse. You're broken, you're sick, you're burned out. The exact same invisible forces that build up your psychology and self-worth can also tear you down. And sadly, without even realizing it, a lot of us are accidentally sliding in the wrong direction. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First up, the math of 1%. Second, the instant gratification trap. Third, compounding in real life. And finally, your laughably small start. All right, part 1, the math of 1% and the invisible force of compounding.
Look, I totally get it. 1% sounds incredibly, frustratingly small. It almost feels like an insult to our ambition, right? Especially in a society totally obsessed with 6-month success stories and rapid life hacks. But if we want real, lasting psychological change, we really need to understand the mechanics here. Let's walk through this timeline together. After 1 week of 1% improvements, you're only 7% better. It's barely noticeable. After 1 month, you're 34% better. Better, sure, but still not earth-shattering. But after 1 year, boom, 3,700% better. When we look at successful, grounded people, we completely miss the 18 months of consistent, invisible effort that happened in the dark before they ever even hit our radar.
And that brings us to the core problem we all face. The compound effect is literally invisible at the start. You put in the emotional work, you make that 1% change, and nothing happens. Well, at least nothing you can see in the mirror or in your bank account right away. And this invisibility is the exact reason why most people quit by week 3 of a new habit. They don't see the immediate results, so their confidence takes a hit, and they just assume it's not working. Moving on to part 2, the instant gratification trap, or why we ignore the truth. So there's this massive psychological friction happening beneath the surface here. If this math is so undeniably powerful and proven, why do we constantly fail? Why do we constantly self-sabotage and quit when we're literally just inches away from that compounding curve taking off? Well, it really comes down to this big question. Why are our brains hardwired to ignore slow progress? The answer is biology. Our biological evolution prioritized immediate results for basic survival. If our ancestors saw danger, they had to run immediately. If they found food, they ate it right then. But modern life doesn't work that way. True psychological peace and deep relationships, they demand boring patience. The modern world rewards long-term consistency, not instant, frantic reactions. I validate this feeling all the time. I actually like to call it the fingernail growth paradox. It's when you are improving so slowly that you cannot perceive the change, even though it is constantly happening. And it is incredibly frustrating. I mean, you do a grueling 2-week detox, or you try really, really hard to be patient with your partner for a whole week. And when you assess the situation, you just feel disappointed. But the progress is happening, just like your fingernails are growing right now, even if you can't physically see it in real time. Okay, let's shift to part 3, compounding in real life, moving beyond the abstract. Now, what's really interesting here is how we can map these abstract percentages onto our everyday lives. Take fitness, for example. The myth is going straight from the couch to running a marathon. The reality, going from 0 to just one 15-minute walk. Over 6 months, that creates a complete identity shift. In money, the myth is becoming a millionaire overnight. The reality is just saving $5 a day. In relationships, it's not some grand romantic gesture to fix broken trust. It's 100 small conversations where you simply choose to actively listen. And in mindset, you don't get instant zen from one therapy session. You get it from choosing to sit still and meditate for just 1 single minute a day. Let's actually isolate that money example for just a second to really drive this home. $18,250. How do you get there? It's not by winning the lottery, but by a boring, completely unsexy $5 a day. That tiny little habit turns into over $18,000 in 10 years. And get this, that is even before compound interest kicks in. It's the ultimate proof that tiny, disciplined actions accumulate into massive reality. Which brings us to our final section, part 4. Your laughably small start, the 1% action. I want us to just completely strip away all those overwhelming goals right now. No more massive overhauls. Here's my actual challenge to you. Pick just one area of your life right now and commit to the absolutely smallest possible action today. For fitness, we use this laughably small framework. Not, I'm going to work out for an hour every day, but rather, I am going to do 10 push-ups. The action must be so genuinely tiny that your brain wonders if it even matters at all. That is exactly how you know it's the right size. It entirely prevents the overwhelm and the fear of failure from ever kicking in. Let's apply this same thing to personal growth and learning. Not, I'm going to read a whole book this week, but rather, I'm going to read 1 single page. This approach completely prevents your brain from generating that dreaded resistance. Literally anyone, no matter how busy or stressed they are, can read 1 page. It's laughably small, but it fundamentally builds the identity of being a reader. And how about our health and diet? Instead of saying, I'm going to completely stop all junk food immediately and forever, you say, I will drink 1 glass of water instead of a soda today. This guarantees consistency. And when you do it every single day, it totally bypasses your willpower and eventually just becomes automatic. You don't even have to think about it anymore. And finally, let's look at our relationships. Not, I need to fix all the communication issues in my marriage this weekend, but simply, I'm going to have 1 genuine conversation today without my phone in my hand. When you apply this laughably small consistency to how you treat people, that is when the real magic of the compound effect takes over. Deep emotional connection compounds just as reliably as math does. As we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with this thought. You've probably heard it before. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect motivation, or some perfect grand plan. Your 1% matters. Your consistency matters. Waiting for perfection is just a trap that keeps you stuck at 0. Start your laughably small 1% today, and just watch who you become a year from now. If this conversation made you think differently, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Beyond the Surface podcast, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's build a community committed to that 1% daily growth. Until next time, keep thinking deeper, keep seeing differently, and keep going beyond the surface.